Welcome. This video is going to give you some information about how to buy a kid's picnic table. If you're thinking of buying one, there are several criteria that you want to consider when making your decision, and it really helps to approach it almost as if you're buying a piece of furniture for your yard, because it's something you're going to be looking at and your children are going to be using for several years. So you want to avoid just running out to the local toy store or Walmart and buying the first one that you see in stock. There's essentially three styles that they come in. One is plastic, then you have the wooden, and then you have the metal or cement ones. But since those are for generally for schools, parks, or playgrounds, we're really not going to go into those. So they'll be pretty costly and very heavy as well. But when you think of the first type that most people think of, they're the plastic kids picnic tables. It's probably the most popular and is often a parent's first choice. They're widely available at toy stores and several big box retailers. The price range is about $50 to $100. And you find the most common brand is the Little Tikes. The advantage and upside of these types of tables is that they're light, they're easy to move. The small models can be very inexpensive. They fit well into a starter home, an apartment, or condominium patio or yard. Some of the models actually fold for storage. The edges are rounded and smooth, so they're safe to bump into. They're also, since they're made of plastic, it's easy to just hose them down. Generally, they're pretty easy to assemble and can last a long time, but in overall, in the long run, if you look at the downsides, they really do look like a toy. They're not yard furniture, so it's something, if you have a nice landscape or a nice yard, they don't always look that great. The other thing is they can fade in the sun. And they're generally for the very small children and toddlers and will need to be replaced when the children get older. This is more so, as much so as because of the size, as well as the fact that an 8 or 9 year old child or 12-year-old child is not going to feel very cool going and sitting and having a picnic on a Little Tikes table. The wooden kids picnic table has probably been around for as long as people have been cutting down trees and using them to make furniture. There's a lot of different styles and shapes available, and they range in price from about $50 to $200. There's two major categories, and one's made out of 3/4 inch lumber, and then you've got the more heavy-duty ones made from 2x4. Generally, we just don't recommend the 3/4 inch wood tables because of the lower quality. They tend to be flimsy. When I looked at online reviews, they tend to get poor remarks for quality and durability. Plus, that thinner wood does have the tendency to cup or warp with age. And that's one of the problems that I started encountering when I was in searching and finding a decent table. And that's why I ended up building my own. So let's get into the upsides of we'll talk about the 2x4 lumber kids picnic table. It comes in a variety of shapes and sizes. You can get rectangles, squares, circles, hexagons. They look nice in landscapes. They're properly maintained. They can last a very long time and still look good. They're available in a variety of colors, and the other thing is they can be stained or painted to fit and blend well into your backyard or your landscape. They are extremely sturdy, and considering how long they last and the number of years that you get out of them, they are actually quite economical. And they are super suitable for kids up to 10 or 12 years old, so you will get a lot more years of use out of it than you will out of the plastic table. On the downside, if they're not maintained, the wooden tables can get rough and splintery. Some of the inexpensive models don't actually bevel the edges and the corners, which can sort of be a safety issue if the child runs into a corner. That's actually why we've beveled the corners of our tables. And we've seen some models actually use carriage bolts instead of screws to assemble the table, which can make the assembly more difficult, and it runs into the issue of having some sharp metal edges exposed. And that's actually why we use 3-inch deck screws to assemble our tables. They are heavier and they're not as easy to move around as a plastic table. So if you look at our bottom line recommendation, obviously we're a bit biased since we believe we make the finest kids picnic table in the market. And as parents of young children ourselves, we have found that the 2x4 wooden kids picnic table has been the best choice in the long run. If you have issues with space or on a tight budget, the Little Tikes plastic table might be a good short-term solution for you. So hopefully you found this video helpful in making your decision. If you're planning on buying a picnic table for your children, go ahead and visit us at kidspicnictablev.com. We hope that you do try one of ours. If you have any questions, you can feel free to give us a call. It's toll free at 1-855-4-KID-FUN. We do pride ourselves on making the best kids picnic table on the market, and we're confident you'll be thrilled with your purchase. So whatever you do, hopefully you're going to make the best purchase for yourself, and we